As Patrick told you, the tenderness markers are excellent. They have been validated, they work, strongly recommend you use them. But I can't put a whole lot of faith in the marbling markers. They're not very good. Here's the other way that you can fix this quick, and we always forget about it. And the Certified Angus Beef program has forced us to forget about that, and we need to start remembering it. We can fix that in one generation with crossbreeding. You take really good beef master cattle, you cross them with really high IMF Angus bulls, you'll get a calf that's adapted to the environment, feeds well, and has higher marbling score. And somewhere in there is what a lot of people are doing. There's some hybrids out there, there's all kinds of ways people will approach that, legal or illegal, but that's what they're trying to do, is raise the IMS score. Now, I personally think that what I have observed, and Corey Monaghan works with me, we talk about this a lot, I don't think we have an opportunity in our breed of cattle to move marbling very much, okay, without crossbreeding. Now, the good news is I don't think we need to, and we need to talk about that a little bit. I think a big mistake we're trying to make is make them all grade choice. Because there's a lot of reasons we don't want them to grade choice, obviously, for our program. If you want them to grade choice, if you're going to try to hit that market, you're going to have to take them somewhere else. Okay? You're going to have to feed them the panhandle. You're going to have to go after a totally different market that is value-based. And I can tell you that everybody in that business is going to look at the ears on your cattle and is going to say they'll never grade choice. Now, they may be totally wrong, and if you're a really good salesman and you can convince them they're wrong, you might have a chance. But there are a lot of good things about our cattle that we can improve on, and we can compete every day, and that, I think, is what we need to focus on. One of them is yield grade. Yield grade is a measure. It's not, and it gets real confusing. This is not yield, okay? I talked to you earlier about yield, which is dressing percent. That's a different subject. Yield grade is after that carcass is hanging, when you start cutting him up. How many steaks you get as opposed to how much fat you throw in the barrel and throw away. The relationship between lean and fat and bone. That's what yield grade predicts. And like all government agencies, they did it exactly backwards. The best is the least. Okay? So yield grade 1 is the best yield grade. Yield grade 5 is the worst yield grade. The way you determine yield grade is you measure the back fat along the ribeye. Now, this is when the animal is dead. It doesn't, as Patrick said, it doesn't make a bit of difference what it is when he's 12 months old. How much fat is on the ribeye when he's dead? The reason is you're going to cut that all off, and you're going to throw it away, but you paid $97 a hundredweight for it. So you don't want to throw it. So you're willing to do more with one that has less. Okay, so the amount of fat on the ribeye, the size of the ribeye, which is the muscling in that animal, and the carcass weight. Okay, and you have a three-way equation. It's a little complicated. I'm not going to try to tell you what it is, but basically, the bigger the ribeye, the higher the yield grade. The bigger the carcass weight, in most cases, the higher the yield grade. However, if that ribeye is big and that carcass weight's big, but that fat is big, then it's going to lower the yield grade. And therein lies the problem with what Dr. Sanders told you this morning. You know, I'm just telling you what I've learned in this business. This business is based on weight. And we can talk about they need to be small. I know Dr. Sanders has a good reason for telling you that, and in your environment that may be true. But the guy with the biggest one is going to get the most money. It's inherent in the system. I'll give you an example. When we opened up production at Swift in Dumas, so we're killing 1,200 head a week at Sam Cane. We start killing 3,500 head a week at Swift. We fed them in the Panhandle. Five Rivers Cattle Company, which is the largest cattle feeding company in the world, was our feedlot supplier. And these guys are good, okay? Because they own every animal they feed. They don't do any custom feeding. They have huge numbers to work with, a huge amount of money to work with, and they figured out how to make money feeding cattle. And what they do is they run them as yearlings. They buy them as yearlings. They don't buy calves. So the lightest calf they buy, 750 pounds, is probably a year old. Okay? They take them straight to the feed yard. They feed them to get absolutely as close as they can to that upper limit that the packer will take without discounts, which is 999 pounds. Okay? And the reason is, here's what happens to me as a beef seller. So in this case, I have the same problem as Swift has, or IBP, or whoever you want to talk about. All of my orders are in cases. I get an order from Super S for 100 cases of ribeyes. Well, a case of ribeyes has 3 ribeyes in it in our business. Okay, a ribeye weighs from Swift 14.5 pounds. A ribeye from Sam Kane weighs 12.5 pounds. I got to sell him 100 cases. Which one of those 2 places do you think will make me more money? If the Swift case weighs 40 pounds and the Sam Kane case weighs 32 pounds, I'd much rather sell the Swift case. And so that economic incentive is what makes us get these cattle so big. And frankly, I haven't seen anything out there that's changing that. Okay? There's a few things that might with $8 corn, but you need to understand that weight and big is important to everybody after it leaves your place. That's why people select for growth. It's not just by accident. Most things people do are not by accident. All right. Now, so how do our cattle get yield grade wise? Well, that's a whole different story. We're really good at yield grade. We knew that kind of. Our data really confirms that. I don't know where my good pastor out there. Thank you. But this is the same population. This is looking at yield grade versus the national average. You'll see that Sam Kane yield grade 1s in our program 15.3%. National average is 7.8%. Okay. 2s, Sam Kane is 48%. National is 36%. So if you take 1s and 2s, you're almost at what? 65% of our cattle. If you take 1s and 2s of the national average, you're only at 42%. So our cattle are really good at yield grade. They're really good at growing muscle instead of lean. The knock on our cattle has always been that, yeah, that's true, but they produce a tough product. Well, that's not true. We can categorically deny that. There are some that do. You have to separate those cattle. And again, that's why I would think that the DNA markers for tenderness might really have some value down the road. They don't today from a strict monetary point of view, but that's something our cattle are good at. But some of them aren't. There are some of you using bulls producing really tough product today. And you need to get rid of those bulls. And you can. You can take a test, you can find out, you can evaluate it, and you can eliminate that population, and you can make a difference in this population of cattle. Same way with yield growth. Muscle is important. Okay, bigger ribeyes. We are nowhere near having 2 bigger ribeyes at Sam Kane. At Swift, yeah, we had lots of 18, 19-inch ribeyes. Too big. We don't get that many at Sam Kane. There's a lot of room for improvement. And that's what we need in beef master cattle. More ribeye area, more forearm, more muscle volume versus fat and bone. We don't need to get them this way. We need to get them this way. We need more thickness, more yield, especially in the loin, which is what's good about ultrasound because you're measuring ribeye area. And I am not a big supporter of IMF for obvious reasons. But I'll tell you what, ultrasounding of ribeyes is highly accurate. If you know how to read the information, it's very predictable. And if you look for bulls that have higher ribeye areas per hundredweight, they're going to improve your cattle. You're going to get more muscle in your cattle. So there's a tool there you can use to even further advance the situation. See, this is a lot like CAB. What CAB did is they knew Angus cattle were really good at grading. They knew they were really good at marbling. So they said, let's identify marbling as our number 1 trait and let's do everything we can to improve it. This is our number 1 trait. We are really good at yield grade. So we need to keep working on yield grade. How do you improve your yield grade? Again, ultrasound is ribeye area. Growth EPDs will tell you some things. Okay? You got to have some sense about the way you look at them. You don't want the biggest one. Again, stay away from the extremes. But if you use yearling weight EPD in particular, that will tell you a lot about the growth of that animal from the time it was weaned to the time it was yearling, which is when most of them are getting fed.